Well, welcome back to Boating Journey.
We're excited to be sharing with you our 200th official episode.
And if you're new here, we appreciate you stopping by. And if you'd like to, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button. And if you are coming back in a regular, we really appreciate your ongoing support.
So, why are we here and why are we having this conversation? Well, for the last I'd say almost a year, since moving to Fort Lauderdale, so many of you have asked us, hey, what's the deal? What is your channel even about? I thought you guys were looking for a liveaboard. You're called Boating Journey, but where's the boat? So we're going to answer all those questions hopefully today.
Welcome to Boating Journey. I'm Scott and she's Allie. We own 2 boats in the Pacific Northwest, but have recently found ourselves boatless after moving to southern Florida. We moved to be closer to different boating opportunities in the Caribbean, our favorite boating destination. Our goals are to explore the Florida waters, bring you some new boat tours, and hopefully find our next boat. So come along and follow us on our boating journey. And I think before we answer that question is we really have to go back to the beginning, how this whole thing really even started. It started 20 years ago when we honeymooned in Antigua, where we chartered both monohulls and catamarans, and we just fell in love with the boating life as well as the Caribbean. And we've really spent the last 20 years boating and visiting the Caribbean all the way from Seattle, which I will say is not an easy task.
But life always throws you a little bit of a curveball, and we, early in our marriage, decided to open a wine shop, and we owned that wine shop for 11 years.
Yeah.
And we owned it during the recession when things got really pretty tough. And about midway through owning it, for kicks and giggles, we went to a boat show. We walked on our very first lagoon catamaran, kind of fell in love with the dream and the idea of, oh my God, people could spend time on this. We almost looked at buying one and putting it in charter, but that didn't financially work out. But at that point, I started immersing myself in every book possible about people who had sold everything and bought a boat. And if you don't know how many there are, well, check the link down below because I've read them all and they're all for sale. But we also then subscribed to all the magazines and really set our dreams to that goal. But owning the wine alley wasn't going to allow to do that because we were working 6 days a week.
It was basically our boat anchor. We had the boat anchor, which was our store, because it did kind of prevent us from, going in. It was just mom and pop here. So whenever we wanted to go on vacation or go anywhere, we would have to close the shop. And we just got to the point where it just didn't make sense for what our long-term goals were anymore.
But before we sold the shop, we first had to figure out, before we went all down that road, would we like being on a boat together? And you have to keep in mind one factor. Scott didn't grow up boating, I did. So I said the solution would be to find a boat first. And then in that process, we had to decide what kind of boat. Do we want a cruiser, weekender, or do we want one with more livable indoor space, which is great for the Northwest? And our broker took us to 2 boats one day, and the one was spacious but needed a lot of work, and it was really old. I don't remember.
Black and white.
Don't remember what kind it was. And then just across the way in the same lot was this Bayliner 3055. It was turnkey. We did not make an offer at that time. We decided to weigh our options. Yeah,
I will say the owner took great care of it. And backing up, I think when we started the boat shopping experience, I really only had two requirements. That was, it wasn't trailerable, even though I think that boat could technically be trailerable.
It was trailered.
The whole idea was that we wanted to be moored in the water so we would know we would use it more, and that it would have 2 engines. So being new to boating, I thought having that little security net of a second engine was quite important.
Yeah. So we went to the Anacortes Boat Show a couple weeks later, looked at a few more boats, and really looked at weekenders and realized that really was the best boat. I mean, it was ready to go. We made a phone call. Next thing you know, we were at a sea trial.
Yeah. It's just
And
like that.
keep in mind, it was my very first boat as an adult was a Bayliner 2655. But back then, we just bought it from like a private owner. We didn't have a broker. We didn't go through all the sea trial stuff. We just picked it up. And so in this case, we went to sea trial. Everything, we had mechanical, everything passed. And the irony is when we finally picked it up, basically we met the broker at the dock and Scott got a 15-minute lesson on how to operate it and how to dock it. And then he said goodbye.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to take off. Are you ready? Okay, Mac, what do you say? Wish luck. This should be our venture. That's where we're going.
No, we'll get out of here. We'll get out of there. We go to the right, right?
Our maiden voyage. Captain Scott. we're a little nerve-wracked. It's kind of super windy. So Captain Scott just got us out of that marina. Mac, you look like a trooper. And we are headed to Seattle. Good job.
So, but it worked out okay. I mean, it was.
We had to the following morning, and we'll leave all the links down below. They're funny because if you think about it, if you've never operated a boat before, we don't even know how to get out of the marina. We don't know protocols. We don't know. We got the dog with us. We got a boatload of stuff.
Ironically, it was in the same marina it was the last marina we got fuel from before we sold it.
The Des Moines.
So.
And when we pulled up to Elliott Bay, we had pre-picked out our slip, which was fantastic. What we didn't realize from a land-based pick out was that we actually had to come into the fairway and make an S-turn. And again, he's never docked a boat before. We had to pass by 3 yachts. So you'd think you'd almost throw in the keys at that point, but you were a natural. I mean a natural. And
having the twin screws was key.
So we spent that entire summer on the boat. Every weekend, we loved it. We loved the lifestyle. We loved the marina. We loved the camaraderie. And so we decided, okay, we can sell our home and our business. And that's what we did. And actually, not in that order. We sold the business first.
Yes.
Then we sold our home. And we actually sold the business before we bought the boat.
Yes.
So I got that out of backwards. But then we moved into we moved from a very large home with 3 couches. We're sitting on our brand new couch today, into an apartment that was 1,100 square feet.
Right. That was our first phase of getting rid of stuff. So we got rid of a lot of stuff to do that, but it was also just to see if we could downsize and really live in a smaller space. And I know if you have a boat that's 1,100 square feet of living space, that's not a small boat.
But here's a great example. The apartment that we're currently in here in Fort Lauderdale, our last boat had more storage than I think this place does, especially in the galley.
In the galley, for sure. Yeah.
So then the next phase, we realize now we like it. We love it. We're not going to keep wasting whatever we're spending between the mortgage and the boat payment on just to have a run of, a weekend or so. Time to sell it, save our money so we can find that live aboard.
Right.
And that's what we did. Great couple. And
that whole plan lasted all of 6 months?
Not even.
Not even.
You stumbled upon and in fairness, so he stumbled upon an ad in the middle of a snowstorm in February for a Bayliner 4087.
In our same marina.
And I said, well, let's just go look at it. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I kind of hoped I wouldn't because I really wasn't ready to buy a boat. And we actually loved it. And made an offer and then went full sea trial. I'm talking haul out. We went through the whole kit and caboodle and bought that boat. And we would have, that boat unfortunately though was not a live aboard either. I know you say you could have. It was the only thing I didn't like was the salon area. It was set up weird. It had a couch in the hallway. You couldn't relax very well. I wanted something a little more open, like some of the boats we've shown you. We've shown you the Silverton. We've shown you some Sea Rays. I wanted to be a little more apartment-like, if you will. But we owned that boat and we took it everywhere as well, and we had a fantastic time. We did not sell it because of COVID.
No, we sold it during COVID.
We sold it during COVID because I accepted a job in St. Thomas,
Yep.
in the U.S. Virgin Islands. But unfortunately, due to COVID, that job got delayed at least a year and a half.
Yeah, that was a bad thing. We sold the boat. We sold a lot of our assets mainly because we figured we were going to be moving to St. Thomas. But the problem is, as everybody knows, nobody knew how long COVID was going to last, right? Nobody anticipated 2 years. We thought, oh, by summer's end, we'll be out of here. And we just wanted to get rid of it so that we weren't trying to rush and get rid of it at the time. And needless to say, I wish we would have kept it, but hindsight's 2020. Not much we can do about that.
No. And so now we had the itch. We had the itch to move south. We knew that there was an 8-year wait list for a liveaboard at Shoal. We were probably never going to get in. All other liveaboards were already cut off in Seattle. So let's move to Fort Lauderdale, the boating capital of the world, and find a boat there. That was really kind of the plan. And I took a job in the yacht business a year and a half ago-ish.
Yep, about that.
No regrets moving here. We love it here. It is definitely the boating capital of the world.
Oh, yeah.
And before I go farther, over the last, going back to what is your channel about, we haven't owned the boat in 3 years now. But we've done tons of boating. Boating Journey is not the name of the boat. It was simply that. It was, how do we document our journey on becoming boat lovers, boat owners, boat enthusiasts. We bring you tours, right? We go on trips. You know, I took a 74 sport yacht to the Bahamas. We took a cruise to the Bahamas. This is on the last year. We went to Barbados. BVI, St. Thomas, St. John.
The Lesser Antilles in general.
Key Largo, Key West.
Right.
And the list continues, and it's going to continue. We go to the Exumas in a month, where I'm super excited to take Scott there, going a year to the date that I was there last year. So we've gone kayaking with manatees. We've rented a dinghy on the New River. You know, we've taken the water taxi everywhere. So we try to make sure that whatever we do in life, it involves boating.
Correct.
And I work in the business. So that's another great, place to be. But now back to the boat. I know you're all wondering. And I had a very interesting conversation with the owners of my company today. We specialize in luxury yachts, and they know the yachting business better than anyone. And they got news today again of insurance rate hikes, severe. And let's put this in perspective. I started talking numbers with them today. So our 50-foot slip in Seattle at Elliott Bay, which I consider the nicest marina just about in Seattle.
Yeah, I would say so.
Total was about, with electricity and water and everything, was about $950 a month. Okay? For that same slip here, as Nick said, with splinters, would be roughly $3,500 with splinters, meaning that it's going to fall, the dock's going to fall in.
Right.
Let's talk insurance. We paid $3,500 a year with a major marine insurance company. $3,500 right now a year would get you a $100,000 center console. That's insane. So everything is either triple or quadruple in price, and it's because of the hurricane. So where does that leave us? We have no idea. And keep in mind, there's things for us to consider.
Yeah, well, we're not in a position to go cruising yet.
Yeah.
So maybe that means we'd have to be based here.
Yeah.
So if we were buying a boat and we were going to take it out cruising, that's a whole other story, because you're not paying for the mortgage or the moorage. You're paying probably more for liability insurance rather than comprehensive insurance. Depending upon the year of your boat and so on and so forth.
Well, it depends on if you pay for it outright or if you finance it.
If you cash
finance companies require full insurance. Sure. So there's, the other piece of it is you could say, oh, well, you could buy just a a fixer-upper, and who cares about insurance? But if you're in the United States, and I don't know about other countries, if you have a major catastrophe and you have an oil spill, you can be fined up to $1 million by the EPA. So that's why you want to have really good marine insurance. Right. Most marinas won't even let you in, and a lot of mooring fields won't let you in. So are we ready? We're not. And keep in mind, we're also working towards retirement. We're not 20 anymore, right? So we have to be really smart about how we spend our money in the next decade so that we can go cruising. And at the same time, immerse ourselves into cruising, meet more boaters like yourself. We've met so many.
Take every advantage that we can.
And that's still what we're going to do, and still bring you tours. We'd love it if you still support us. This is not meant to be a home movie, so for you haters who have left us some gnarly comments, it's a way for us to document our journey for
And we do appreciate
friends.
you actually viewing.
Yeah, we do.
Whether you like it or not, keep the viewing up.
But we don't need your mean comments, right? We're not salespeople. When we do a tour, we're here to, we're actually going onto the boat and reacting for the first time. It's how we are viewing it as a consumer,
right,
not as a salesperson. It gives a different perspective. And I think our tours have really gotten quite a bit better. In the beginning, we were running through, and it's hard when you're at a boat show trying
to navigate all the people on the boat.
Yeah, and we're not Naughty Styles, and we're not Nate and Kara travel vloggers. We're Scott and Allie. Who happen,
for better or for worse,
who happen to love boating, and this is where we've gotten. So we hope that in 10 years that we can turn back and go, look, this is where our channel has gone. And 200 episodes is a big deal.
Oh,
we put a lot of work. You do. You put a ton of work into it.
As do you, dear.
I write the blog. So if you don't read the blog, please subscribe, because I do write the blog and I try to give it a different perspective. And we do have a lot of things planned. We've got a Sarasota trip to share with you. We've got Exumas.
Which includes paddleboarding or kayaking with the manatees.
Yes. And then we've done a beach cleanup. So we're also going to try to do our philanthropic part here and really support that community. That's important. And at the same time, if you guys know of a project boat or you want to meet up with us and share your insights, we would love that.
Oh, yeah. If you're down here in Southern Florida, please, drop us a line in the comments, and we'd love to meet up with you.
Yeah. And we could also do a Zoom, but I don't know who would all show up, so that's why we've never done one, but if that's also an option. But we are trying to grow, and I think we've really come a long way with over almost 7,200 subscribers. Right. So the last thing I'll say is share your feedback with us. What would you like to see us do? We're pretty game. So where does that leave us? We don't know.
I think it leaves us here at the end of this episode. So if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, leave your comments down below, ring the notification bell, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See you soon.